Welcome to Car Stories. In this video, we are going to look at the technology features available for managing highway safety.
Let's now move to our expressways and national highways. The types which allow a person to drive at 80, 100, 120 kilometers an hour, and the dynamics are very different than what you see in a city or on a smaller road. Um, the main issue need for expectation of a driver on a highway is that you should drive at a fairly reasonably high speed at a steady rate, which never happens because you have vehicles which are slow and driving at 50, 60 and all over the place. Uh, so you have to constantly press brake and accelerator. This is a problem. So it kind of defeats the whole purpose of a peaceful driving. So what this adaptive cruise control feature, which is now being put into the cars, which is actually a safety feature, though it's also a convenience feature, but it's a safety feature because it helps you not get fatigued on a long drive. So what this basically does is that you set the max speed at which you want to drive. So let's say you set the speed at 100. What this will do is that if it will accelerate the car up to 100 the moment you cross 40 km/h. It will automatically, you don't now at that point you stop pressing the brake and accelerator, the car will accelerate. If there's a vehicle in front of you which is going at a lower speed, let's say 85, then it will at a specified distance behind it, it will stabilize at 85 kilometers till either that vehicle accelerates or you change lanes, you come on one side, and then there is no car in front of you, so it picks up the speed back to 100. This also gives you the flexibility that in a scenario where you want to marginally accelerate and go beyond 100, it will allow you to do it. At the moment you leave the accelerator, it will come back to the set speed of 100 or whatever it was. To that extent, this gives you a flexibility without really disrupting the adaptive cruise control. In an extreme event that you have to brake, uh, for whatever reason you want to brake faster than the cruise control does, you can press the brake, and moment you let go the brake and you want to come back to normal, there typically a button is provided in the car which you press and it will revive the adaptive cruise control back. So typically for 90-95% of the time on a long expressway or a highway, 3 lane, a 3+3 lane road, uh, you will not have to press your brake or accelerator at all. It's a smooth ride. You have to only change lanes. That's all you have to do, and that really reduces your fatigue level. And that's the real most important feature which is available here. So there are typically three features which come in. One is the adaptive cruise control. The second one is the lane keep assist, which helps the car stay in a lane without you having to turn the wheel. So it will, as the road curves, the car will curve and turn. Provide your holding the wheel, but you don't have to turn the wheel. And the third one is the lane departure mitigation system, which ensures that the car is in the lane and by chance you change the lane without signaling, it will give you a warning and try to nudge it back. Both these lane keep and lane departure mitigations typically operate above 70-72 kilometers per hour, not a lower speed, because that's the speed at which you need serious lane discipline. So we will go through some examples on the road to understand how it really works out in real life.
To address this, there are three main features: adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, and lane departure mitigation. We'll look at each one of these one by one.
The way this works is that you set a target speed at which you want to drive, and the car will simply accelerate to that speed and drive at that speed till it encounters another vehicle in front at a lower speed. It will then slow down till it reaches the speed of that vehicle, and you can customize the distance you want to keep when that happens. So if you now change the lane, your car will simply pick up speed to the set limits on its own.
Let's now look at some real life situations. And we'll start first with slow moving trucks. And how do you handle them with this? So notice as the truck is coming, if you want to keep your speed at 95 kmph as shown here, you need to just, you can change the lane, the speed won't get affected. And as you cross the trucks, you can then gradually come back to the original lane that you were in. This way you don't have, you can actually run your cruise control, adaptive cruise control, without necessarily the cruise control lowering your speed. So a lot of concern that you may have to needlessly slow down. That's not really true given the status of most of the highways, which are 3 lane, and there is enough room most of the time to get past traffic. So you'll have to change lanes often, as you can see here, as we go along, because there are a lot of slow moving vehicles on the road which are probably going at 50, 60 kmph, and you need to change the lane, but you have to only change your lane. You don't have to press the accelerator. Now let's take a look at another scenario on the roads. This classic scenario of these trucks or buses hogging 2 lanes. So notice as I'm going, the guys in the front aren't really great at following lanes. This truck on my left is trying to creep in, but that's fine. I can go past. But the vehicles in the front are really messing it. So my speed has dropped from 95 to 81, as you can see at the bottom of the screen. It's dropped to 80, and now I'm kind of cornered because that bus in the front is spanning across 2 lanes, so I really can't do much. So the only option available for me is to now see whether I can change lanes, because my speed keeps dropping, it's going down, and there are vehicles on my left. So at some point I get a chance to shift, but I still can't because now I get into a truck, which is even worse. So I just keep staying in the lane. I'm still in the 70s. Finally, as I cross it, the bus still isn't really helping. It's still spanning across 2 lanes, and there is no way I can cross it at this point in time. So I now get a chance and I move on gradually to the 3rd lane, because that's really the only way for me to cross. And now as I cross this lane, you can see that my speed has gone back into the 80s, and there is another vehicle in the front, but that's not a problem, and I change the lane, and gradually the vehicle goes back to its original set speed at. And it often gets a little more interesting with a bus and a tempo scenario. Bus in the center lane, tempo in the fast lane for some whatever reason. The bus wanting to grab 2 lanes as a result of it. You just got to be quickly patient about this, get onto the side, and you will find that as your speed drops from 95 to in the 60s, it's going to pick up very rapidly as you manage to get a clearance and go back quickly into the 90s without you having to press the brake or the accelerator. So we just saw how we can manage without necessarily pressing the brake or accelerator. Now let's see how we can stay in the lane without having to change our steering, turn our steering. So this is where the lane keep assist feature comes. Uh, Firstly, as you notice here that as this road is gradually going up on the gradient, the lane keep, the adaptive cruise control is ensuring that the speed is kept at 95. It's not slowing down, it's pressing gas um, on its own and making sure the speed remains same. So that's the first thing. So it handles the gradients well. Now, as this road is going to quickly turn, you can see a fairly sharp turn on this road. One of the challenges drivers have is to stay within the lane. What this lane keep assist does is it's basically turning the wheel for you. You have to hold your hands on the steering wheel. You can't leave it because otherwise it disengages. So to keep your hands on the steering wheel, but you notice that at this speed of 95 kmph, it stays in the lane. And this feature, frankly, is fairly stable and comfortable. Notice you can go past a large truck without really feeling worried about the stability of the vehicle. It goes past and is able to hold its own very, very nicely. Let's take a look at some fairly steep curves here, and you can notice how well the car is able to stay within the lane far better than somebody can do it manually without any issues. And, you can stay in the side lanes, you can be in the center lane, and as this road turns, the car is really holding it well without me doing the steering. And let's see now how this lane keep assist and adaptive cruise control works as you go between two slower moving vehicles. Uh, Not touching my, holding my wheel but not turning it, not pressing accelerator or brakes, and it just goes neatly within it. You got to be ready in case somebody does anything funny, but that's about it. The last major feature on the highways is the lane departure mitigation system. What this basically does is that if when your speed is higher than 72 kilometers per hour, it ensures that you stay in the lane. If by chance, without giving an indicator, you shift your lane, then you will get a warning on your dashboard, and the wheel will be gently nudged. The steering will be gently nudged to come back. You can still change the lane, but you will feel the tug on the wheel, so it keeps you on the lane. If you give the indicator, however, you can change the lane without feeling any nudge or obstruction. So as you can see here, I am going to change the lane without giving a signal, and I am seeing a warning on the dashboard. So now when I give the indicator, I don't get that warning. So thank you for listening to this video, and I hope it helped in giving you some new ideas.